Hello all of you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and authorly hosted Tues Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval themed format where I, the crown Jules of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you, yes you the person who knows their bike is not on the wall and is throwing out this shot. It's really bothering me, I can see the recording over here, it's bothering me, this negative space. So, we're going to turn this into positive space. James, if you would please. That's just going to be there so that I don't freak out too much. Enjoy! Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week, and this week we have none other to thank than Lemming of Doom for their suggestion of boss battles where you are the final boss. Because this is the thing, as you may well know from watching What Culture over the many, many years that we've been around, we do love ourselves a good boss battle. However, even though most of them are tests of our skills learned up until that point or brand new experiences, there is sometimes a rogue element that developers love to throw in there, and that rogue element is you, because today we're going to be talking about times where you, yes you my friend, were the final boss. And you know the drill by now, say hi to me here in the live chat and put your suggestions for next week's episode down in the comment section below. But with that in mind, let's get on with this list, shall we? Ow, my ear! Number 8. Evolve. Now, in all honesty, you could really have put any asymmetrical multiplayer title into the mix here because, yes, it's, well, you are the final boss that every other player is trying to kill, but I thought that we'd give a special shout out to the rather dubious Evolve title today because that was really the first game to put that idea of one versus everyone onto the map, or into the mainstream at least. Here we find a team of players taking up the role of hunters, tasked with just one mission, and that is to bring down a gargantuan monster that is controlled by another player. Oh, and also to stay as a group, which for some reason is constantly ignored by at least one member of the team, usually leading to a party wipe later on. I'm not bitter, I swear I'm not. Seriously though. Charles, thanks for that every single time that we played. Thanks, mate. Now, while all of this infighting is going on, the other player, who is draped in their best Scooby-Doo robes, is off hunting the wildlife in order to evolve into an even more powerful being. Oh, I just got that. That's like the title. Ah, clever. Likely doing all of this while chuckling, "This isn't even my final form!" And as such, it's a game where you create your own villain arc, moving from a relative weakling with a grudge to an all-powerful world-ending entity. And trust me, there is no purer pleasure than dropping onto the hunters with a fully beefed-up super squid, nailing them with special attacks, separating each member, and then devouring them whole. In their eyes, you are most definitely the final boss to their multiplayer experience, and to be honest, that is a role that many players were more than happy to step into. Number 7. Double Dragon Arcade. Now, you know the expression, you can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends? Well, thanks to the Double Dragon Arcade experience, that is somewhat altered to, you can't choose your family, but you can definitely choose your frenemies, because that, oh boy, when it came to the end of that game, talk about a rug pull. While protagonist brothers Jimmy and Billy Lee, also known as Bimmy, thanks to a hilariously brilliant mistranslation, have been as thick as thieves throughout the base game and have kicked evil in the face so many times that it's developed a foot fetish. But when it comes to the closing moments of the title, it turns out that the only defeat that Bimmy is interested in licking in is defeat of his brother's girlfriend Marion, as in a shocking turn of events, he challenges his brother to a fight to the death for her affections. Because that's what all women want, isn't it? For some absolute scrub to just step up and beat the piss out of his brother and win you like a trophy. It was a very different time. In these moments, blood being thicker than water is thrown out of the window, as now the only blood on show here is splattering against the floor as the two players square off against each other. That's right, it's you versus the person who you've been working with all this time on the couch next to you. Suddenly the tension is ratcheted up to the extreme, with all camaraderie being replaced with ganradgery. It's a northern thing, don't worry about it. And you'll need to bait your supposed friend into whiffing attacks in order to land that killing blow and reign as either a brother forced to knock some sense into his sibling, or a dirtbag who literally tried to steal his brother's partner just because he felt like having a long live the king moment. Number 6. Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. Now, when you load up the utterly balmy Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, you might well assume that the final boss involved in this game is either going to be the massive mountain in front of you or the absolutely heinous control scheme, as both are going to take a lot of effort to overcome. Side note, I hear that swearing loudly at both definitely helps. However, upon beginning your your uphill climb, you'll soon start to realise something, likely aided by the voice of Mr. Foddy himself, that it's not actually the mountain that's the final hurdle, but your perceptions about perseverance and never giving up. Now, in a tangible sense, yes, the mountain is the object to climb, but you are the climber, and as such will experience setbacks, moments of frustration, and the ability to learn and recognise patterns in order to overcome them, making it a perfect visual metaphor for life itself. Now, sometimes we will be faced with situations so utterly overwhelming it will feel like we will never get over them, and sometimes, as with the controls, you're not often best equipped with the right tools to make the job any easier. However, it's through learning to work with your body, your mind, and your outlook that you will come to see that you have the ability to achieve any goal and cross any milestone if you just keep working at it and learning from your mistakes. You see, in this situation, you are the final boss here, but I want to clarify something. You are not a final boss to be defeated. There's nothing wrong with you that needs to be outwardly changed in the sense that you need to conquer yourself. Here, you actually get the most out of this game when you learn to work with what the game presents to you as mechanics, and also free yourself from anger and resentment to try and enjoy the experience. And then you'll realise that there really is no mountain that you can't overcome. Number 5, Metal Gear Solid. Right, okay, so every single time that I have to talk about a Metal Gear game, I start to perspire. I start to sweat more than Fat Man being told that no, sir, you can't have a stick of lard in your soda because A, it's not on the menu, and B, we are a solicitor's firm. And that's because with plots as complex and interweaving as those presented in this franchise, it's easy to get lost and make mistakes that diehards will call you out on. For example, even talking about Metal Gear Solid's final boss, Liquid Snake, is tough because while he is most definitely Solid Snake's evil twin and most definitely qualifies for this list, technically you're both evil twins as you were both made through the cloning of Big Boss. Plus there's the insinuation that of the two, Solid Snake is the more evil of the pair, with Psycho Mantis even calling you true evil during your encounter. Plus several of your allies also comment on how Solid Snake seems to enjoy war and killing. And to add even more insane petrol onto our burning brains, as you're a clone who has most definitely got a fair share of skeletons in the closet, that means that during the original Nayers game, Metal Gear, when you take on Outer Heaven and reveal Big Boss to be its leader, it means that to him, you're the evil invader coming in and messing up his plans as you're the evil clone. Oh yeah, that's right, my brain is just leaking out of my ear. Fantastic, thanks for that. So yeah, the next time that you play as Solid Snake, just remember that you're playing as a pretty horrific and evil clone, and no amount of sick skateboarding tricks should ever make you forget that. Number 4, Mass Effect 3, The Citadel. So Mass Effect 3's The Citadel DLC may well be one of my most favourite video game expansions ever. Now, while some may see it as little more than paid fan service, to many it was a love letter to the series that actually felt better connected to the source than much of the vanilla experience. Here was a tightly crafted and personal story that doled out emotional beats and some delicious action that always felt complementary to the situation rather than being just placed in to pad out the runtime. Plus, it contains some deliriously cheesy moments that are just too good to hate, and by that I mean that it introduced you to the final boss of this experience, and that was you. And by that I mean a clone of you. Yes, that's right, this evil Commander Shepard was created by Cerberus as a backup, but who has now broken loose and is looking to steal your identity. As you might expect, this twists and turns through moments of betrayal and people questioning your intentions, and culminates in a boss battle with the clone who actually uses your chosen build to inform its attacks, which itself is just an absolute chef kiss of a touch to this experience. In fact, that's how I'd sum up the entire expansion as a whole, with a mighty mwah. Put that on the box. Number 3, Waxworks 1992. Now, while most entries on this list focus on the idea of you either battling your clone or the person sitting next to you as making you become the final boss, when it comes to 1992's horror survival game Waxworks, well, they took that concept and they ran with it. Some would say into the very ground. Because Waxworks presents the player with a family under a rather nasty curse, and not the type of curse that makes you devilishly handsome and speak with dulcet tones in exchange for your hair follicles, but a curse that always affects your entire bloodline. Because here, every single time that one of the family would give birth to twins, one of them would always turn evil in order to serve Beelzebub. Ah, damn it, I meant to say Beelzebub, and now here he is. Alright mate, I haven't seen you in a while. To be honest, I'm pretty sick of this guy, but I do have a way of getting rid of him. Beefgates! Right. That's it. He's done. He's been poochied. Thanks, mate, by the way. I really appreciate that. No. Oh. Beelzebub's gone. Now, as you can imagine, this makes family reunions pretty bloody awkward indeed. Yet, this is exactly the task that is given to the player, to travel through time and eliminate these evil twins, thus breaking the curse. So far, so very weird, but it all culminates with you traveling back in time to the moment of your family's cursing and killing the witch before she can ruin so many generations and birthday parties. However, of course, there's a twist, because this is a horror game after all, and upon killing the witch, you then travel back to the present time, only to find out that in her dying moments, she actually cursed you, not the entire family, just you, to become a demon. And then you and your brother just leave the museum that you were in, and that's it. But you have become the evil twin now, and therefore you are most definitely the final boss. Number 2, F-Zero GX. Now here we come to the curious case of F-Zero GX, which if you're to listen to the hushed circles of gamers that crowd around, I don't know, like bin fires, under bridges sometimes, you'll hear them whisper of this game, of how absolutely amazing it is, how utterly ridiculous the speed is, how tight the controls are, and how lamentful it is that Nintendo seems to quash any idea of it ever coming back. That's probably why they hang around there, because they're worried that Big Ninty's just going to arrive there and just stamp them out of existence. But still, it is a fantastic game. But the reason why this is a curious entry on this list is because while F-Zero X introduced us to your typical clone gone rogue in the form of Bloodhawk, and that said shadowy racer was unlocked after beating every challenger that game had to offer on its highest difficulty, in GX there is no way this pretender to the throne could ever be counted as the game's final boss. Now I say that because the true final test of this game's story mode is a one-on-one race with one of the game's designers, as you must battle a staff ghost and race perfectly on a track without any walls whatsoever, meaning that you'll be sipping on a delicious cocktail of pain and humility for days to come. So yes, we have this weird situation now where if you were the game developer on F-Zero GX that put in that staff ghost race timer, then technically you are the final boss and play against yourself. So technically I'm right, and it does qualify for this list. And if not, if you've got a problem with that, then just remember this: Evil Finger Temple of Doom. I can do what I like as long as I'm doing this. And number 1, Darkseid 2. Oh, Darkseid 2, you are so incredibly weird, but I love you so much. Seemingly acting like the love child of H.R. Geiger and Mortal Kombat's live-action capture technology, Darkseid 1 and 2 are a trip into insanity that will make you question many things. For you see, while it first appears that luckless loser Mike Dawson is once again on a quest to stop a parallel dimension from invading his own, things take a turn for the Twin Peaks in the final moments of this sequel. Here, Mike has somehow defeated a giant monster using only his wits and his, why yes I do have my porn collection alphabetized stash, and is now chatting with his pal Jack, who so desperately wants to be the Fonz that it's likely that he's got a tattoo of Henry Winkler's face on his tongue. That's good, Fonzie. Jack reveals, in a rather well-laid twist I have to admit, that you and he are actually the same person, and that he's actually the Mike Dawson from the parallel universe, only clearly cooler and with the ability to turn into a bloody demon. Now, as you might expect, turning into a bloody demon versus Mike's ability to wear sports coats doesn't work out well for this Mike. Or this Mike that I've just hit. And so now lays dead on the floor. Having stolen our identity, Jack now rides off into the gloom set of the other world. You can't call that a sunset, I'll tell you that for much. Clearly preferring to go home over live in our reality. Which is all well and good until you start to question, wait a minute, what? What was the point of trying to merge the realities if you're just going to go back and live in yours? What's the point? What's the point of this game? And there we have it, my friends. Those were 8 video games where you are the final boss. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ, but the O is a 0, and the same handle for Instagram if you want to go and check out the silly stuff that I'm doing over there, like painting my models. Oh, yes, indeed. And don't forget to give James Dow some love as well. He's probably put some weird meme up over here. I never understand what half of them are. I'm too old. I'm too out of the loop. But I enjoy that he enjoys them. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. As I explained in the Bennett Foddy example, sometimes we can see ourselves as a final boss, a hurdle to overcome. But I just want to really encourage you to be kind to yourself. Try not to stand in your own way by seeing yourself as an enemy, because trust me, you are a great person. You deserve love, happiness, and success. And trust me on that one, you do. Everybody does, all right? So if you need some help, if you feel like you're standing in your own way, then try and step back from situations that are causing you extreme stress. And remember, it is more than okay to ask for help sometimes. In fact, I totally encourage that you do so. All right? Because at the end of the day, I just want you to live a healthy and happy life. Big love to you, my friend. Now go out there and smash it. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.